Are you pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant, but you have herpes and you don't know what that means for you or your baby? Maybe your doctor mentioned something that made you freak out a little bit, or you've been reading scary stuff online about risks and complications. Well, in this episode of Herpes Wellness, I'm going to walk you through the truth about herpes and pregnancy and why most people with herpes go on to have healthy pregnancies and babies. So be sure to stick around to find out the real facts you need to know about and what's complete fear-mongering, how pregnancy can affect outbreaks and what to do about it, what to expect during labor and delivery if you have herpes, and when antiviral medications may be recommended. Hi, I'm Dupree, and I help people to navigate life with herpes. And for those that are new to this channel, I want to welcome you. And for those that are returning, welcome back. I am so thankful to have all of you here with me today. Here at Herpes Wellness, we provide education, support, and empowerment for those living with herpes. And if you don't have herpes and you're just looking for more information, we're here to help you too. Now, before we dive in, I want to invite you to join our community by downloading the Herpes Wellness app. There you'll have free access to our forums where you can ask questions, seek advice, and help other members along their journeys. And for a limited time, for anyone who signs up for the free support membership, we're going to upgrade you to the Connection membership, which includes access to a whole bunch of cool features, like a listing in our member directory and member search, direct messaging with other members, a group chat lounge, member-led events, both virtual and in person, plus monthly live streams with me where we talk about everything herpes. Now, normally this membership is $19 a month, but you're going to get this access for free for as long as you remain a member. And if you're wondering about privacy, we've got you totally covered. The app icon will actually say Age Wellness. So if someone happens to see your screen, you won't disclose your status unintentionally. So be sure to join us at Herpes Wellness. The link to download the app for both the App Store and Google Play is in the description box below. Now let's get into it. Now, the reason why I'm doing this episode is because someone in our community recently reached out after being diagnosed, and she was really worried about what this meant for her future and for her ability to have children. Like many people, she's feeling super overwhelmed and unsure about herpes might affect pregnancy. And she's definitely not alone in her thoughts. Whether you've just been diagnosed or you're trying to conceive, or if you're already pregnant, this episode is perfect for you. Because when it comes to herpes and pregnancy, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So today, we're going to clear things up, talk through what's actually important, and give you real answers so that you can move forward with complete confidence. So let's start here, because if you've ever Googled herpes and pregnancy, you've probably seen some things that scared the daylights out of you, right? And if you've talked to your doctor who wasn't super informed or sensitive, you might have walked away feeling like something about you suddenly changed. And that's not only unhelpful, it's totally wrong. So here's the truth. The main concern when it comes to herpes and pregnancy is around delivery, not the pregnancy itself. And even then, transmission is extremely uncommon when you already know you have herpes and you're managing it. Here's why. If you already have herpes, whether that's HSV1 or HSV2, your body has antibodies to the virus. During pregnancy, those antibodies actually get passed down to your baby through the placenta. That gives your baby a natural layer of protection. Think about it like an invisible shield, right? Now, here's the part that most people don't realize. The highest chance of transmission happens when someone contracts herpes for the very first time late in pregnancy. Why? Because their body hasn't had time to build up antibodies yet. And without that built-in defense system, the baby is more vulnerable if they're exposed during birth. That's why in certain situations, like a new diagnosis, say in the third trimester, or symptoms showing up closer to labor, a doctor may recommend a C-section. But for someone who's had herpes before pregnancy, and especially if they're not experiencing an outbreak at the time of delivery, a vaginal birth is often considered completely safe. So let's be real. I mean, herpes is super common and the medical world definitely knows how to navigate it during childbirth. The problem is that most people don't know that because conversations are often loaded with a ton of fear. Now, speaking of fear, let's talk about the fear-mongering piece. There's a narrative out there that if you have herpes, you're some walking threat to your baby, and that's just not true. It's not. You're not automatically high risk. You're not broken, and you're definitely not dangerous, that's for sure. So there's no need to panic every time you feel a tingle. There's no need to mentally prepare for a mandatory C-section. You just need both information and a provider who understands the difference between managing herpes and overreacting to it. So here's what I want you to take away. Yes, herpes transmission to a newborn can happen, but it's very rare. And if you've had herpes before getting pregnant, the chances of that happening are actually extremely low. And most importantly is knowing your status and having a provider who's well-informed and supportive, so that way they can recommend the proper treatment and care for you and your baby. Next, I want to get into something that doesn't get talked about enough. And that's how pregnancy itself can affect your body's relationship with herpes. As we know, hormones are no joke during pregnancy. Come on, your body is going through huge shifts to support the baby, and that means that your immune system is also changing. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily weaker. It's just doing something totally different. It's focusing more on protecting the pregnancy, which can sometimes mean it's not quite fighting off herpes with the same intensity as usual, right? So for some people, that can lead to more frequent outbreaks. And for others, it might mean no outbreaks at all. There's just no one size fits all here. There are some people who go through their entire pregnancy without a single episode, and others might see a spike in prodrome symptoms or have more noticeable flare-ups, especially in the first or third trimester when the body is under the most physical strain. And let's be real, pregnancy is stressful emotionally, mentally, and physically. And for some people, that alone can be a trigger. I mean, come on, you're carrying a baby, you're navigating doctor's appointments, hormones, body changes, and if you've got herpes on top of all that, that's a ton to deal with. But the good news is that there are things that you can do if pregnancy triggers more outbreaks. First, you can track what's going on. Keep a simple log of your symptoms, what you're feeling, where and when. It helps you to spot patterns and gives your provider real information to work with. Second, rest as much as possible. Fatigue can make everything worse, including outbreaks. So if your body is tired, listen to it and take a break. Third, support your immune system. Talk to your provider about nutrition, hydration, possible supplements, and even stress relief practices. And finally, ask about antivirals if outbreaks are picking up, because you don't have to live with that. Some providers are open to prescribing antivirals earlier than the typical 36-week mark if symptoms are present or persistent. And just to be clear, antiviral medications like Elcyclovir and Valacyclovir are generally considered safe to use during pregnancy. They've been studied for decades and are often recommended to help prevent complications during delivery. You deserve to know your options, so definitely talk to your provider about how to protect yourself and your baby during your pregnancy and your delivery. So now I want to talk about the part that makes a lot of people nervous, and that's giving birth while having herpes. First of all, I want to let you know that you can absolutely have a vaginal birth if you have herpes. Lots of people do, and it's often completely safe. What your provider will pay the most attention to, though, is what's happening around the time of your delivery. Are you experiencing any symptoms? Are there any visible sores? Do you feel any warning signs that an outbreak might be coming on? But if everything looks normal and feels normal, and if you've had herpes for a while, a vaginal birth is usually the plan. Now, if there is a visible outbreak when you go into labor, your provider may recommend a C-section because it's just the safest way to prevent passing the virus on to the baby during birth. Look, doctors just don't want to take any chances when it comes to newborns, and neither do you, because babies don't have the immune system to handle the virus. So if there's a chance of direct contact during delivery, a C-section is going to be your backup plan. But here's the thing. If you've been managing herpes, say if you've had it for a while, or if you're on suppressive therapy during the final weeks, there's a very good chance that none of this will even be necessary. So that's why you'll hear most providers recommend taking antivirals starting at 36 weeks, because they want to help reduce the chances of an outbreak at exactly the time that you do not want one. They'll usually check in with you as your due date approaches. Some providers will even do a quick visual exam when labor begins, just to be sure there's no signs of an outbreak in order to keep you and your baby safe. And what I want you to know is this. Having herpes doesn't mean that your birth plan goes flying out the window. You can still have the experience you want, but in the end, what's most important is keeping your baby safe, right? And if your plans have to change, then that's okay, because you're doing what's needed in the moment to have a safe delivery. Now, lastly, I want to talk about antivirals, because if you're pregnant and you've been diagnosed with herpes, this is probably something that's going to come up. The goal is simple, right? Reduce the chances of having an outbreak during the time of delivery. Most providers recommend starting suppressive therapy around 36 weeks. I mean, that's just the standard. And when I say suppressive therapy, I'm talking about taking daily medication, right? Even if you don't have any visible symptoms, it's a preventative. It helps to reduce outbreaks, and it's often enough for you to have a vaginal birth without any complications. Now, some people may need it earlier. Say if you're having frequent outbreaks during pregnancy, or if you're just feeling worried about the possibility of symptoms showing up later, you can talk to your provider about starting the medication before that 36-week mark. And let me just say this, because I know this is a concern for a lot of people, because I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Antivirals are considered safe during pregnancy. They've been around for decades. They've been studied, and they're commonly prescribed specifically to help prevent neonatal herpes during birth. Look, your doctor can walk you through the dosage and the timing, but know this. You are allowed to ask about it. You're allowed to bring it up before they do, and you're allowed to advocate for what feels right for you and your body and your situation. There's nothing wrong with taking antivirals, whether you're managing symptoms, preventing an outbreak, or just trying to feel a little bit more peace of mind as your due date approaches. You get to make that call with your provider. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked today's episode, please like and subscribe to the channel. And remember to join our free online community by searching for Herpes Wellness in the App Store or Google Play, or just click the link in the description below to download. And if there are any herpes topics that you would like for me to discuss on the show, please leave them in the comments. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you the next time on the Herpes Wellness Podcast. Bye for now.